Can everybody hear me? Okay, it's coming up. In live video. Okay. All right, mount up. All right. Okay. Can you hear me? Okay, it's coming up. All right. All right, we live. We live. I'm gonna touch on a few topics. We would have been on. I would have been on. Okay, I see. Okay. I would have did. Take the. Take and just mute the. I want to hear myself. I want to hear. All right, Mentellect. Mentellect. All right. All right. I probably won't keep these on all day. I just want to keep these. All right, I'm gonna touch on a few topics and whatnot. Probably questions and things people got in here. I can see everybody comments. You know, um, I'm gonna answer questions because we were supposed to do a Sunday class. Usually we do the Sunday class on the end of the month, but being that I did a class for my birthday, I wasn't doing no Sunday class. There will be a broadcast tonight, Mentellect Radio tonight, so prepared for that. There's some things I want to touch on. I'm gonna look at my list. I had a huge list of stuff I want to touch on. Bear with me. Stuff that I could actually. Hold on. Hold on. Hmm. Okay. All right. I had some old topics I had in my phone. One of them I just came across, and that was why fourth dimensional power produces reality in the three-dimensional world. I might have did a broadcast on it, but I'm gonna go further into it today. Remember, I told you it's very important for us to be real with one another, be real with ourselves and the things that we say, the things that we advocate, especially if we're claiming we are of the elect. See, because part of being, well, let me start, before I start off, let me say, in the name of Amen, the Supreme, the All-Powerful, the one and only true Lord, in Amen we trust as the Republican Mentellect, the real 144,000 is being gathered in this day and time, the mentalists, the Mentellians. Hail Amen, everybody. Hail Amen. Hail Amen. Menzak. Okay. All right. I wanted to touch on this. I said it's very important that we're real and that we deal solely with reality as is, and we cannot afford to have any three-dimensional delusions in our head. Why do I say that? Because, as I said before, black people, so-called black people, are delusional. We're just going to be real about that. So-called black people are delusional, and what happens when you're in a state of delusion, what happens ultimately when you're in a state of delusion is that you strengthen the three-dimensional realm that you're stuck in, right? You start to strengthen the three-dimensional realm that you're stuck in. You strengthen it to whereas you can't get out, because the three-dimensional realm, as I said, is based in illusion, based in falsehood. Now the beast, they need you in order for this delusion, in order for this delusion or this illusion of, what we're living in this state of existence, this spiritual state, in order for it to register and be real with you, you have to believe in it. You have to believe in that. You see, in order for it to be real, you have to believe in it. See, the power of belief equals the power of acceptance. I'm going to say it again. The power of belief equals the power of acceptance. That's why I've always told you all who came here following in the image of Amen, after the image of Amen, as mentalists, that you are not to believe not one thing I say. I said that. Do not believe anything I say. You're to think about what I say and see if it logically makes sense. And if it does not logically make sense, then you must come to me and ask me, and I'll explain it even deeper. But don't, if you don't understand something, just say you don't understand, and I will explain it to you. Why? Is because we must be on this level of reality. Notice I pushed reality above truth and lies. I pushed it above that. I said because reality is supremacy. And if we are claiming that we are moving on a supreme mindset, we're moving in a supreme space. We're moving from this mindset, this illusion of equality or wanting to be equal to these humans. I said we have to start living our lives in pure reality. You see, we have to live our lives in pure reality if we're going to be who we say we are. Because the beast already lives in an illusion. He already lives in that illusion. You see, they already live in an illusion. And because they live in that illusion, you know, they got us living in the illusion. Like I said, the biggest illusion that they push is that we black people. You see, and we sitting up here falling into this illusion. You see how illusions, right? Delusional people strengthen the they help to strengthen the prison that they're in. They help to strengthen the condition that they're locked in. See, I'm gonna give you a good example. Is if I tell you, if I try to convince you that you're lower than everybody, you're ignorant, and I set up a system to teach you this continuously, what am I ultimately doing? I'm trying to get you to accept a certain mindset that I'm putting across to you, and therefore you will always stay stagnant and in a certain level, on a certain level of thinking. You see, on a submental way. You have to convince the person that you're trying to keep down that they are low, because then it's two people coming together, or two forces coming together, aka positive and negative, coming together to produce an illusion. You see what I'm saying? Positive and negative coming together to produce this illusion. So this is what I'm saying. We have to be pure, or deal in pure reality, because you notice whenever our people deal in pure reality, the beasts don't like that. They want you to live within their illusion. See, they're trying to put heavy illusion on, which is part of witchcraft, right? Part of Luciferianism, Satanism. They have to put heavy illusions or delusional thoughts in your head, things that are not real, because all that stuff works against, all that stuff is anti-reality. It's not real. None of the stuff they tell you in that state of light and darkness is real. So when we said we moving toward that state of brightness, that state of supremacy, that state of reality, that was a real state that we're moving toward, because we have to live in that state. We have to be real within this community, within ourselves. Am I making myself clear? Let me know if I'm making myself clear. Everybody in the comment section, just go clear so I know, because I see the comment section not moving. So just let me know by saying class. We're just getting this started up, like I said, right now. So when I go on, when I'm going to be on YouTube, okay, when I'm going to be on YouTube and all, and that, like I said, it's just, you know, I didn't get my hair cut today. I was going to get it, I'm going to get it cut, you know, y'all know, but I still look pretty decent. It's still pretty good. But anyway, we have to constantly live in that state of reality. See, black people don't know what that is, because just by the virtual fact that they'll argue with you about whether their skin is black or not. I'm just using black people as an example. They'll sit up here and argue with you from a delusional mindset that they're black people. And they don't see that by feeding into this black thing, that they're keeping the illusion going. And if you keep the illusion going, you keep the submissive and the bottom of the barrel mentality. In other words, you keep your condition going. You keep the condition going. You see? They have to convince you that you're black people. That's how they cast the spell. They have to convince you that you black people. And then once you accept that you black people, then they'll throw all this stuff in about the negativity of black people this and black people that and black people this and black people that. And they can do that because they're the ones that created this whole black mindset. You see? And therefore they throw it in there. And then, of course, you're going to eventually accept that. You'll accept that you're a minority. You'll accept that you're the bottom of the barrel, that you lower than everybody, when in all actuality, you're supreme to everybody here. You got the most dominant genetics here. That's reality. So, of course, the recessive ones, the weak ones, they want to focus on breaking you down. So how do they do that? They tell you they have to create a delusional mindset, a delusional set of thoughts in your head. They have to tell you that you black, but your skin is not black. These frames I got on my glasses are black. They do not match my skin. There is no black people. But you tell so-called black people that they'll be ready to fight and argue with you about it. And they'll claim, they'll start talking this nonsense about, oh, that's semantics, you using semantics and all this stupid stuff. No, I'm using logic and rationale. You can clearly see through observation that our skin is not black. That's something so-called black people do. They will sit up here and they will go as far as to reject observations. Real observations, things that we can see. They will go as far as to reject real observations. And they'll say, you know, you using semantics, or, oh, they didn't get that from the so-called white man. So your real observations are not worth nothing. What the white man's philosophy is. He could just say anything and it don't even make sense. And you can't even observe that. He's just talking, and they'll set up and believe that, because that's part of the delusional thinking that they implant in your mind. That's part of the delusional thinking. They plant that delusion in your mind to keep this three-dimensional realm strengthened. See, when you stop strengthening this three-dimensional realm, you'll start to see it fade away. When you so-called black people, aka bronze people, bronze-skinned people, and you're going to start watching. Now that I'm pushing bronze skin, you're going to start seeing a lot of these copycats pushing the bronze tone and the bronze skin now. But anyway, when you stop, that's one part of it. But it's so many of the delusions and the illusions to break, the delusional thinking, the false thinking. Those have to be broken, because belief is nothing but false thought. That's all belief is. It's false thinking. You see, it's submental or it's a submental low form of thinking. That's all belief is. And they want you to accept the beliefs they're trying to implant in you, because it strengthens this three-dimensional realm and it keeps you at a certain level. Remember, everything that's going on in this three-dimensional state is what? Is strengthened by thought. Is it not? Everything that goes on in this three-dimensional realm is strengthened. It is run on thought. Is it not? It's run on thought. Everything in this three-dimensional realm is run on thought. So who's the most dominant thinking beings on the planet? Whether you want to accept it or not. Who are the most dominant thinking people? Whose thoughts are the most dominant on the planet? You so-called black people, the bronze race. You are the most dominant thinkers on the planet because you're the most dominant people on the planet. That's logical. You got more brain matter. You got all that. And what did the beast try to do? He tried to spend all of his time trying to convince you from his quack fake doctors, his so-called psychologists. He tried to spend all this time convincing you and his people that you are inferior to him. They tried to do something that was illogical. They're trying to tell you that people who are dominant in their genetics, dominant in their features and things like that, are recessive in their thinking process. That don't even make sense. That don't make sense. How is it that the people who are dominant in their genetic material, how can they be recessive mentally? That's BS. How is it that people who are recessive physically, how are they going to be dominant? How are they going to be dominant mentally? They're not. And they show you that they're not. Because if you look at these humans, you'll see that they don't have any common sense. They do not really command any real form of logic. They're not logical thinkers. You see, they're not logical thinkers. They go off of emotion. They go off of energy that moves them. That's another term I'm bringing out for emotion, energy that moves. You see, and energy can be moved and manipulated by those who are, how I want to say, those who are the ones who know how to garner power, because I said true power is knowing how to manipulate energy. Did I not? True power is knowing how to manipulate energy. That's true power. Not the energy itself, but the one who knows how to manipulate the energy. That's the power. That's the person who has the power. That's why I said power is a thing of personification, because personification, those persons who know how to manipulate energy are the ones who are the true power, because they know how to control and drive energy. That's what the Amen are. And who is the energy? Who is the loose energy? What is the loose energy and loose power? The loose energy and the loose power in this three-dimensional realm is the spirit energy. You see, the spirit energy. That's the loose power that's scattered all over the place. And the beast knows how to drive that energy, aka move people by way of what? Emotions. By way of emotions. He knows that if he can get people to believe certain things, believe in an illusion or a delusion, create delusional people by believing in illusion, he knows that if he can do that, then he strengthens the three-dimensional realm and he stays in power. See, but once you break that three-dimensional state, once you break that, then the picture starts to fade. He has to spend, trust me, it don't even matter. That's why I say it don't even matter what they think. They are recessive in their thoughts. They're very easily manipulated, the humans. But who the strongest people who they always really want to influence is you. You so-called bronze people, you so-called black people, the bronze race. They want to influence you because, see, once you accept something, then that means it's truly going to start to register as real. Once you accept it. Why? Because you were the most dominant genetic kid, so therefore you're the most dominant mentally. You just don't act like it because you've been taught. You've been taught by delusional belief system, by delusional and an illusional belief system that you are mentally inferior. You see? And one of the ways, and like I said, did they not go out their way to try to say that you are mentally inferior, you're imbecilic, you so-called black people is this, that, and the third? They went out their way. They didn't do that with all these other races of people. Why they went out their way to do that with you? Answer: because they trying to get you to believe something. They tell themselves something out of emotion, out of fear, out of envy, and out of hate, because they are really what's the word I want to say? Intimidated by you. They are intimidated by you because you are the dominant genetic. They are intimidated by your genetic material and everything. That's why they have the need. They always have to find the need to make you the low-level people, the savage people, the super predators. You see, they got to say things like that because what they really showing is that they feel intimidated by you. That's why they need all the guns. They got to get together. They got to constantly figure out ways to kill you. Because why? Because they know that when the illusion wears off, when the illusion starts to wear off, that you don't think of yourself as black people anymore, nor are you answering to them, then it's going to be a problem. It's going to be trouble. How do you say? You see? So they have to constantly get you to believe in this three-dimensional state. They have to get you to believe in the three-dimensional state of you as black people. You see? Because, see, black people is nothing. And if you put your mind into nothing and believing that you are something that's an illusion, in other words, if I tell you that you're black people, and there's no such thing as black people, then what? I'm putting my mind and my energy into something that's not even real. Y'all follow what I'm saying? You're putting your mind and your energy into something that's not even real. So when you put your mind into something that's not even real, then guess what? Your thoughts go nowhere. Your thoughts go nowhere. Because you saying as a black man, I'm thinking of this, that, and the third. But there's no such thing as a black man. As a strong black woman, there's no such thing as black women. Your skin is not black. So already you're putting your energy into something that's not even real. An identity that's not even real. You follow? And that's what keeps this three-dimensional realm, this odd frequency going. I told you it's run by black and white. This is not run by color. There is no living color here. This frequency is not run on color. It's run on black and white. I don't care where you go. There's a black and white dynamic everywhere you go. You see, and they have to convince the people that they are black people. And they convince themselves that they are white people. And therefore, they keep the three-dimensional illusion going. Right? What do they call a magician? They call him an illusionist. Yeah, they call him an illusionist. Because he has to get you to believe that he's performing magic. You see, everything here is based on illusion. They created a whole entertainment industry that's based on what? Illusion. Because they're getting you to believe in these stories that they put up here that they produce. That's all based on illusion. This society cannot move without illusion in the three-dimensional realm. See, we approach in a state of reality in the fourth dimension, and a lot of people, as we are approaching that stage of reality, which is revelation, as we are approaching the revelation, everything is being revealed, because all things in the fourth dimension are going to be revealed through pure reality. Who's real, who's fake, who's really of the elect, who's not of the elect. All that's being revealed. All that's being revealed. See, all that has to come out, because that's reality. If people are not being real, then you're going to be exposed as being fake. Simple as that. You're going to be exposed as being fake if you're not real. That's why I said we have to live our lives in pure reality. When you see me, y'all know about me. Y'all know about my language. You know about my penchant for marijuana. I keep it real. I'm not going to be fake with y'all at all, because we can't afford it, because I know this is really happening. Everything I told y'all that's happening, y'all done seen. Everything I done predicted to tell you was going to come, and more things is going to come in 2021. Everything I told you happened. Did it not? Everything. From them admitting to you that it's going to, that they're going to eventually tell you there's water on the moon, and that water on the moon has a magnetic pulsation to the water on the planet, which pulls the tides, because you can't pull the tides through a magnetic field of pulsation if the same element, which water is an artificial element, if it don't exist elsewhere. So you can't tell me that if the moon is dry and there's no water there and it's pulling in tides here on the planet. That don't even make sense. Because the earth, down the way Elijah Muhammad was right about that, the moon and the earth were together at one time. They were together at one time. And they were broken apart because the moon had to rotate around Earth in order to stream the radiation from the sun into the Earth. You see? Because without that rotation of water and that magnetic pull of the water on the planet to stream in the solar transmission or solar projection into the planet, then this Earth would burn. It would be overloaded. It could not take the projection that's coming in. So it helps to water down everything. It helps to water down everything that's coming in. We have to have that for now. But as we move into the fourth dimension, things are becoming real, and the elect are going to stand up. And that means all power, all physical and mental capabilities are going to come out. All the things that were in us, those who are of the elect, are going to start to surface. Y'all follow? All of these things are going to start to surface. That's why I said, when I say keep it real, keep it real. If you're not of the elect, leave here. Don't be here. Don't be like these people that came in here and wasting time and playing games, man. This is not a game. See, black people are simple-minded and they full of folly. They full of folly, man. And as we're going forward, there's no room for folly. There's no room for that. Because you keeping the illusion going. If you got people, you know, I'm going to just be real with it. If you got family members who up here talking about, yeah, and the voting is this and vote, I can't listen to things that are not real anymore. See, this is a side effect of Mentellect. I'm going to let you know a side effect of Mentellect. See, once you start to hear the reality of this message, which nobody's disputing. Nobody's disputing it. People are copying it, but nobody's disputing it because this is raw transmission coming to you live as you hear the continuous reality, the logical reality of this message, which I am sharing with you all. Once you hear that, it's hard for you to listen to anything that's not real. It's hard. That's why I'm sitting up here and I pay $200-something a month for cable and I don't even watch goddamn TV because I can't even watch anything that's real. That's not real. I don't want to see no TV shows. I keep it and whatnot because I know for the internet and things like that, for that, I might want to see a documentary, but I can't even watch TV no more. I don't want to see no goddamn TV shows. That's not real. You see that? Most of my time I'm watching documentaries on YouTube. Or laughing at these clowns right now because now the so-called black race, the so-called black leadership, the so-called black people who are Christians, Muslims, Israelites, Pan-Africans, whatever, they're my comedy now. They're my comedy. That's what I replaced them with TV shows. Where I used to watch TV shows and like to watch TV. They're my comedy now. They're my entertainment. Strange as that sounds, that's my entertainment. Watching these people talk about a bunch of foolishness, reading out of the Bible, talking about damn Cornelius or the Apocrypha, and going at each other. That's my entertainment. I laugh at them. I can't even watch TV no more. That's the side effect of this. You don't want to hear no BS. When people start to BS you and start to talk to you, or they want to talk about the elections or Kamala Harris or her being a real black woman, I turn them people off. I don't want to listen to them. Or these niggas talking about they vote count. And yeah, we got to keep our vote. Man, I turn these guys off, man. They sound stupid. You understand that? They sound stupid. I turn these people off because they're not dealing with reality. They're not, as they say, they're not keeping it a buck. They're not keeping it a thousand. And it's funny, you see black people coming out with that, talking about keep it real, keep it real, keep it real. Then you see black people coming out, I'm going to keep it 100, I'm going to keep it 1,000, I'm going to keep it a buck. You see that coming from the so-called black people, but they can't keep it real themselves. But what that really is, why that energy of that keep it real, that keep it 100 mentalities on so-called black people is because that is in the air. That is by way of almond that reality or that stage of reality is coming in. And you're going to have black people, so-called black people, pick up that frequency. They won't know why they're saying, yeah, well, I got to keep it a buck. I got to keep it real. I got to keep it 100. I got to keep it funky with you. Whatever these niggas say. But they saying that because they receivers. They picking up that reality's coming in. But a lot of them are not going to be part of it. And they're going to expose themselves as not being real. You see? The reality's coming in. That's why they saying what they saying. The reality's coming in. That's why they saying what they saying right now. Keep it real. Keep it a buck. I'm going to keep it 1,000 with you. Then you find out these guys, they on some kind of weirdo madness, or they just, they ain't what these people they ain't what they showed you to be. You see, they something else totally different. Hold that thought. I'll be right back. I'm keeping it. I got to use the bathroom. I'll be right back. Give me a second. And I'm back. But does everybody follow what I'm saying? Everybody follow what I'm saying? Black people, that's why I said they keep this reality going, man. They keep this reality going. And I said they keep this reality or this not reality, but they keep this fantasy going Just by a very simple thing. When I said something, I told everybody, I said black people want to stop. I said so-called black people want to stop change things, or want things to change or evolve or whatever. I said they got to stop being black, and that stuck them. I said you got to stop being black. What I meant by that is you got to stop lending to or giving your energy to the fantasy of these beasts, man, of these humans. You ain't gonna keep it real and just say that, yo, these humans are animals. They got fur. They got the animal genetic material. You tell a so-called black person that they'll look at you like you crazy, and it's right in their damn face. Where you getting this from? Oh, that ain't true. Where you getting this from? It's right in your face. If I just like we ain't black. Oh, where you getting this from? My hair is black, or it appears to be like my frames are black. You clearly see my skin is not the same as these frames. You can clearly see that. But they'll sit up here and argue with you about something as simple as that. So you dealing with people who are not dealing with reality. Once you accept that you black, you've accepted that all the negative things that go with that. Once you've accepted that you black, you've accepted that. You've accepted everything because that's part of the spell that they cast. I told you, they said black people, then they put all these images out of black people being lazy, shiftless, ignorant, foolish, folly driven. Now you see that's all they was pushing. Now you see that has become a reality, has it not? You started off as serious people, real people who would never refer to yourselves as black people. You knew yourselves as copper colored, bronze people. The reality of how your skin looked. Now these people are convinced you that you black. You don't see something wrong with that? And they'll argue with you about this. Black, so-called black people, bronze people will argue with you about this. Their minds are gone. They have accepted and they believe in this state. They believe in this three-dimensional state. So you can't talk to people, you can't deal with people who think like that. You see, that's why I said, and I keep stressing, that the separation of the bright race from the black race has to happen. That has to happen. Because you got the bright race here, the ones who are receiving this solar projection, this live feed from the fourth dimension, because this, make no mistake about this, everything I give you is from the fourth dimension. Everything. It's from a fourth dimensional perspective. It's from a fourth dimensional projection. It's from a fourth dimensional reality. Because that's all it is. Nothing is real in this three-dimensional realm. Nothing. These humans are not real. All you got to do is pay attention to their movements. Look at how they move. Look at how they interact. Nothing with them is real. The only thing that's real with them is that they are animals, and they will attack you because they'll figure out, and then when they usually want to attack you is when you figure out that they're unreal and that they're really scared of you. That's when they'll get offensive. That's when they want to attack you. That's when they're looking at you funny. That's when they starting to look like, does this person, do they know, she must know something, or he must know something. Something ain't right about this. They feel uncomfortable around you. Because they always afraid that you're going to find out what they are and what they really about. That's why there's enmity or hostility between what? The serpent seed and the woman seed. There's hostility between the serpent seed and the woman seed. Because when a serpent comes around, as they say, a snake or a serpent comes around, don't everybody tend to get nervous? If you see a serpent come around, you're going to tend to get nervous, right? You're going to get nervous. That's the same way they feel when you come around, you so-called black people. You come around them and it be a bunch of them, they're going to get on edge. They're going to start feeling some kind of way. One of them come around you, you ain't tripping about that if you see one of them. When these humans come around, but when you walk in there, they get on edge. You can feel the energy. You can feel it in the air. The tension, the hostility. Right? Am I right? Because that's that serpentine in you. Even you so-called black people who are disconnected from almond, you still can't hide that serpentine genetic in you. You see, you still can't hide that. And you trying to figure out why it is that why the so-called white man, the rest of these humans, why they feel this way they feel about you, why they on edge, why they don't like you, why there's hostility, is because you're the serpent seed and they are the woman seed. You are the serpent seed and they are the woman seed. The female. You see? And some of you black men, like I said, a lot of y'all are under that female vibration, under that female seed vibration, under the woman seed or the female seeded vibration. See, y'all not really of that genetically, but mentally you are, because you're under that vibration. See, that vibration, that mental vibration, that illusion is very heavy, and it got the minds of a lot of people. It has converted and turned out a lot of people who have the genetic material of the serpentine in them. All you so-called black people, so, and I keep saying so-called, you all have that serpentine genetic in you. All of you. You got the serpentine genetic in you. These humans don't got that. They got the animal genetic in them. See, but you're under that under that female seed, that Eve seeded energy. Y'all under that. And the beast has found a way to push the Eve seeded energy. How do they push it? They push it through female domination, through witchcraft. Who are the witches? The witches are the females, right? Do not the females lead the males and beguile the males, right? And ain't that the story of the so-called Adam and Eve? Or Eve, she was beguiled by the serpent, and then Adam turned around, she fooled Adam and all this. See, this is all symbolic of something. This is basically saying that those in power, the Amen, use the female because they did create the female first, not the male. They did use the female genetic material. You see? And because of that, they always use the female. They always consider the female to be in power. What does that translate in today? The so-called beta male and the liberated woman. It's just all that's called today is the liberated woman and the beta male. That's all. There's no alpha woman. There's no beta woman. There's the liberated woman. And then there's the alpha male, the beta male. And most of these liberated females, they got beta males. That's how it was in the so-called garden or the creation of the humans. The Amen produced a female who would be more dominant than the male. That's why the Amen didn't even bother to deal with the woman seed. They said the woman seed, the serpent seed. Because most of these males the males that were produced, they had a feminine energy in them. These humans who were produced, they got feminine energy in them. I don't care how hard they try to act, they got feminine energy in them. You know how you know that's the truth? Because aren't these humans, aren't they more lenient toward homosexuality, man on man, effeminization of men? They more lenient toward that, are they not? They more lenient toward that. And they lenient because that's in their genetics. It's in their genetic material to accept homosexuality and lesbian because they are of that Eve seed or that feminine seed. We are of the serpent seed, and the serpent seed, the serpent denotes, or the symbolism of the serpent denotes logic and rationale and intelligence. Why you think you Israelites say you have to be wise as a serpent, yet harmless as a dove? Wise as a serpent. The serpent in the Bible is constantly made reference to as being wise. Now, I'm not no Bible thumper and all that, but I'm just using this as an example of the symbol of the snake. The serpent, I should say, has always been seen as a symbol of wisdom. Why is that? Because that's the Amen race or the serpentine race who were the leaders mentally of everything logical and rational. That's where the white man get that whole thing. Remember in the old Star Trek of Spock and the Vulcans? What were the Vulcans supposed to be? The Vulcans were reptilians. You see, Spock was a Vulcan amongst the humans. All right? Spock had the pointed ears. They were supposed to be reptilians. Then in the newer Star Trek, they had the so-called black man as a Vulcan. You see? Because They know us that the mark of those who carry the serpentine seed, the mark of those who carry that is those who have the ability to think, the ones who utilize logic. Because whenever you see a serpent about to strike, what is the serpent doing? The serpent is sizing up the prey. He's looking at you. He's figuring you out. He's trying to see if you're trying to come at them. They're seeing which way you move it. So they're constantly on a level of instinct, which is a low level of thought. They're constantly seeing what you about to do. Are you about to attack? They're trying to figure out your energy and your movement and see if you're gonna become, if you're gonna try and harm them in some way. So they sizing you up. That's the trait of you so-called black people. Y'all good at sizing people up. You see, you good at sizing people up. You good at knowing what tend to be dangerous and what is not dangerous. And you used to have that when it come to people telling you lies or making up things to get you to believe stuff. You used to have your logic and common sense going, but y'all don't even got that no more. You basically, the white man got you to believe everything he said, even that your skin is black. Y'all will sit up here and have an argument over whether your skin is black or not. You see? You'll sit up here and do that. So now why is this coming to fruition right now? This logical way of thinking, this mentellect, why is this coming about? Because this is supposed to represent the separation. This is supposed to represent the separation of the bright ones, the bright race from the black race. Those in darkness, you see. And I'm going to say this too. When the white man, I'm going to say, when he called you black people again, that wasn't even making reference to your skin. He was making reference to your inability, or what he tried to get in you, your inability to think. He tried to turn you into black people, people who are mentally dead, people in darkness. That's what it meant when he called you black people. Because he couldn't have been talking about your skin, right or wrong. He couldn't have been talking about your skin. You can clearly see your skin is not black, but why is he calling you black people? That's another way of him saying dead people, mentally dead people. That's what that means. Now I said the female seed, not the woman seed, the female seed, because the woman seed is the serpent seed. The men's seed is the serpent seed. Those are together. The female seed is the Eve seed. All right. But they talking about your level of thinking. They know you're black people. What does black represent? That people in darkness. People in the state of ignorance. You see, y'all don't even know, and they show you, it proves that that's right, because so-called black people, they think that they being called black because of their skin. How many of you hear these idiots talking about, yeah, the color of my skin, because the color of my skin is black? Your skin is not black. You see what I'm saying? They say stupid stuff like this. Yeah, they discriminating against me because my skin is black. You can clearly see your skin is not black, and they're not calling you black because they say because your skin is black. They're calling you black because they are making reference to you being mentally dead, you not knowing who you are, you being in darkness. Remember when I went into this thing about black and what black means in the rituals of witches? What black means in the rituals of witches means darkness, illusion, right? Hidden things. That's what it means in the rituals of witchcraft. When they called you black people, that was purely a witchcraft form of ritual that they were casting, a spell that they were casting on you so-called quote-unquote black people. People in darkness, people in ignorance. Like I said, with this government, what do? When they say you got the black file over here, we got the redacted report with all the lines blacked out, so you can't really see what the files were saying. They all blacked out. What are they saying? They saying that they hiding things. So they've been hiding your identity. Black is a word. Black is really a code word for hidden. They hid you away. Did not the Beast make that movie about the so-called black women called what? Hidden Figures? They the ones that came up with the plans for NASA to get these so-called astronauts to the moon. They call that movie Hidden Figures. So when they calling you black people, they're really calling you hidden people. They hiding who you are, hiding your identity so that they can do what they do. That's all black means, hidden. You see? They hid your true identity. They came in and they told you came from Africa, and of course they ain't got no records on where they got you from Africa at, right? You come from Africa, you black, you was in the jungles, you got to America, we civilized you, end the story. Martin Luther King and all, you ain't got no history past that. You ain't got no history past that. That's a lie they tell you. They're hiding who you are. Because in order for this illusion to continue going, they have to keep hiding you. They have to hide you behind black. They have to hide you behind African or African American. They got to keep hiding you. Every time they do, they saying this, they hiding you. And every time you so-called pro-blacks out there in the conscious community go with this whole black thing, you part of the illusion too. That's why I said don't trust none of these black power Negroes, these Muslims, Christians, Israelites, all these people. If they still pushing this black thing, get away from them, man. Because they can't be this dumb. Either they this dumb or they playing right along with the beast, man, to keep this three-dimensional illusion going, man. Either way, we can't have no connection with them, man. There has to be a separation. Bright from black. Bright from black. Bright from black. We can't even say bronze from bronze because we all got bronze skin, those who are being called black. So we can't say the bronze from the black. Bright is a state of intelligence. Bright is a state of intelligence. Okay? Bright is a state of intelligence. Black is a state of intelligence. Black is a submissive and submental state of intelligence. You see? It is a submissive and submental state of intelligence. That's why they called you black people. Do not the so-called white man constantly keep on trying to push the idea that you're mentally inferior? Does he not do that? He's trying to push the idea that you're mentally inferior. So you telling me that you got physically dominant people, physically dominant from the hair on top of our head, this woolly hair on top of our head, my little curly, but the woolly curly hair on top of our head, the bronze skin, the physical the lips and the nose and things like that. You telling us dominant people got recessive intelligence, got are submental in their intelligence? Or are you trying to get people to believe that? Are you trying to get people to believe that? No, yeah, you trying to get people to believe that. And yeah, it's gonna go on YouTube. I'm gonna put this on YouTube. You got the so-called black race under a mental spell, man. You got the so-called whole entire black race under a mental spell, under a mental program. A submental program. A hidden program. Notice, whenever they say black people, they saying hidden people. When they didn't make that movie Hidden Figures for nothing, man. That was a big Hollywood budget film. And notice they had the bed winches in there. Right? Hidden Figures. Because they were trying to do two things. They were trying to so-called elevate the black woman. The ignorant woman, the hidden woman. They were trying to elevate the hidden woman, aka the so-called black woman. They were trying to elevate her over the so-called black man, the hidden man. They're trying to elevate her, right? And they were trying to push this whole black girl magic, black girl. Because again, that's, if you listen to that word black girl magic, you gonna tell me that don't sound like some kind of Lucifer, some kind of satanic witchcraft thing they pushing? Black girl magic. Listen to that. Black girl magic. See, these are games they play. You see? These are games they playing. These are spells they're casting. You see? This is spells they casting. When they referring to you as black people, they making reference to you as people who are absent, not just of light, but you absent of brightness, meaning you're absent of intelligence. In other words, when they calling you black people, they calling you stupid people, ignorant people, people who don't know, people who believe anything. That's what your believers are. That's what your believers are. Submental, ignorant people. A sip of water. That's what that is. All right? Black is a void of darkness, ignorance. We're supposed to be going into a state of brightness. That is the true supreme void or the extended space of intelligence. Right? That's what that is. So we have to be mindful of that. We have to be mindful of that. Okay? And I'm going to say this just for a minute. Those of you who hear people repeating my words and copying, like this clown Nicholas Jackson, you see this guy, Zareus, I'm going to just get off this for a second. Notice that Amen will be always missing in what they saying. You see, that just shows you that's a black devil right there. Because everything out of my mouth I say comes directly from Amen, not from me. I'm nothing but a receiver. That's all. This is not Nuben Menkares. This is the reception of the Amen from the fourth dimension, which they're sending to me to bring the elect into alignment with the fourth dimension. But always they will use, they'll use what I'm teaching, but they'll keep Amen name out of it. That just goes to show you that they want to bring down the frequency of this brightness, because I've always raised it to Amen. It's always been given to Amen, because this is not for me. This is not from me. This is through me. I'm only sharing what comes through me. You see? They want you to think that things is coming from them because they want to be the light. They just like the beast, man. They just like the beast. They want to pretend like they're the light. That's what the beast do. He pretend like all intelligence is coming from him. And he got y'all to believe that. He got you to believe that all intelligence is coming through him. Coming from him. You see, not through him, but from him. Why does he do that? Because he wants to black out. He wants to black out the reality of the Amen. He wants to black out the reality of the Amen. That's all that's about. You see, they want to block out the reality of the Amen. That's why they want to call you black people, because that's another way of blocking out the reality of the Amen. I mean, it don't take a rocket scientist to look at you and say, you know what? My hair, my skin, I don't look like these people. I don't have straight hair like an animal. I don't have dog fur. I don't have pale, flanky skin. I don't have I have actual features and lips and nose. I don't look like these people, so I can't be of these people. I can't be of these people. See, before you start figuring that out, they got to throw something else in the mix. Oh, we all human. We all the same. When you can clearly see that we're not. And they've always pointed to the fact that you're not the same. So now all of a sudden, when you start to figure out that no, hey, we not the same, we something else. Oh yeah, we all the same now. We all human. We all the same. We all together. Which one is it? Which one is it? We all no, we're not the same. We are not. The animal genetic was what separates us from them. They got the animal genetic. We got the reptilian genetic. Simple as that. We are of Amen. We are of the upper dimensions. They are of the lower three-dimensional base. That's reality. And like I said, a lot of people don't want to accept that reality. A lot of people want this fantasy that the beast keeps growing. Because like I told you before, black people keeping themselves in this prison, man. Black people are keeping themselves locked in this prison. It ain't the so-called white man. He ain't doing it. He ain't strong enough to keep you locked in the mental prison. You got to keep yourself locked in there. You see? You got to keep yourself locked in that. You see? Because every time he introduces something, he makes sure he pushes it to you so-called black people. So that once you accept it as black people, then it becomes set in stone. Once black people accept something, then it becomes real on the planet. Forget about everybody else. Once you so-called black people accept things as real or true or whatever, then it becomes set in stone. You do know that. They don't go by what they think. You see, they don't go by what they think. They really go by what you think. You see, they go by what you think. Because the rest of these humans, they know when they see When they see themselves up on the screen and movies and things like that, and you promoting them a certain way, they don't really believe that about themselves. They know it's an act. They know it's all phony because they phony. They fake. They know it's false and they know it's real. They know that you are real. They are not. They know that you are real. So to circumvent that reality, how we do that? We gotta hide these niggas. We gotta hide them. We can't tell them that they the real Americans. We can't tell them that they was the first people here, that they was the first people on this planet, period. We can't do that. We gotta hide these niggas. How the best way to hide them? They black. You black people. You Negroes. You see? We gotta hide you. Hidden Figures, Planet of the Apes. They tell you they break out the truth here and there. Because that's what they do. But they gotta hide you. They gotta hide you in plain sight. Meaning that they can't hide you to whereas you can't figure it out. You just gotta, use your observation. You gotta think. And that's something black people don't want to do anymore. That's out of fashion for black people. That has gone out of style with black people to think. Because the minute you try to start, thinking, oh, you pseudo, something wrong with you. Why it's in the science book right here that this white man wrote, so why don't you get that book and read and do your research, brother? Research what? Some lies? Research what? Research some lies, some theories, some made up ideas? This is what they're telling you to go and spend $200 on a book. You niggas in the conscious community, man. They're going to tell you to go, they'll call the white man all these days, but they will, well, see, he got knowledge on this science and this and no, how you know? You don't know anything. You believe what he's telling you. You ain't no different than the Christians, the Muslims, and the Israelites. You no different. You believe just like they believe. All you so-called science people, you part of the illusion as well, man. Those people are keeping the illusion going as well, man. That's why I said get away from these people. Get away from these people. Even you so-called Pan-Africans, you add the illusion to the picture now. I heard this lady, and I gave her, I bigged her up. This lady who was talking about this reverend on my page, Gray, Pastor Gray, or whatever this guy is, talking about he's sweet and how he moist. Yeah, I agree. But this same lady, who I already know, she probably was listening to some Mentellect. I heard a little Mentellect come out of there quite a bit. But anyway, she then goes on to say, oh, you can, there's some African-centered practice to homosexuality. Really? There's some African-centered practice to homosexuality, huh? Okay. So what you're telling me is something that's illogical, something that is illogical and not based in reality. That's some form of Afrocentricity. Okay, goodbye Afrocentricity. Goodbye. Because you're going to tell me something that not only is degenerate and filthy, but you're going to tell me something that to engage in, or it's okay to engage in this alternative lifestyle that don't even make sense. This is what these Pan-Africanists are preaching now. You could be a homosexual and be a Pan-Africanist now. Or a race mixer. You see, all the things that are anti-reality. Because being in that alternative lifestyle, that's not reality, man. A man and a woman together, that's reality. You see, a man of his own kind with a woman of his own kind, that's reality. Interracial is not reality. Homosexual is not reality. I don't care who don't like it. You ain't gonna make me believe otherwise because they on a campaign to get you to believe otherwise. No, thank you. I don't believe in anything. What I know based on thought, logical thinking is none of that what you telling me makes sense. We ain't falling for the banana in the goddamn tailpipe that like how y'all was telling us since the 1900s that we black people. You can keep that. You can keep the black people nonsense. You see, you can keep the alternative lifestyle nonsense. The sexual confusion nonsense. You can keep the interracial nonsense. No, thank you. And see, when you say that, Nowadays, so-called black people got a problem with that. They got a problem with that. When you say it to the so-called black people, they have a problem with that. Why do they have a problem with that? They got a problem with that because they're part of the illusion right now. That's why they got to get charged to the game, man. You see? They got to get charged to the game. Well, a lot of these black people, all that brother, my sister, my brother stuff, you got to charge them to the game, man. Just forget about them. They gone, man. Mentally, they gone. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad kept saying mentally dead, mentally dead, mentally dead. And then when he died, his people showed just how mentally dead they was. After he was saying mentally dead, mentally dead, mentally dead, they set up here and showed you just how mentally dead they was when they went and followed these damn Arabs. They former slave masters before the white man. But that's, again, reality's coming out. Reality's coming out. We have to be real in these next days and times. When I say notice, I don't say last days and times. I'm saying the next days and times. I don't say the last days and last time. I say the next days and next times. See, because it ain't going to be no more first and last. The first are going to be installed, and that's going to be it. The first will be the next, and that's going to be it. That's going to be it. The last won't be seen again. And a lot of you so-called black people right along with your, with the beast, y'all going down with him because y'all done took on that energy of the beast. Y'all done took on that spiritual energy of the beast, man. Y'all done lost y'all souls, man. The so-called black race done lost their soul. They going, their souls are gone, man. And in fact, I was going to talk about that. And when I was talking about the impression of music, I'm going to speak on this. Yeah, I noticed something about music. I was listening to this guy, Thundercat. I listened to a lot of his stuff, right? The guy Thundercat. How many of you guys know this guy Thundercat? This guy, the singer Thundercat. If you notice with a lot of these black musicians right now, a lot of these guys are black Caucasians, man. They ain't got no soul. What they do is they know how to mimic soul or mimic some R&B type of thing. They don't have any soul. They'll make some records that sound good, right? But you know the mark of those who got soul because the music that they make makes a real impression on you. You see, the mark in the music they make, it makes a real impression on you. It's timeless music. It's like certain music and certain artists and people you can play that will always touch something in you, and it will be a constant remembrance of something good in your life. It'll uplift you. You follow what I'm saying? It'll touch you in the soul. That's when you play some Earth, Wind, and Fire, some Stevie Wonder, some emotions. The emotion, certain things that the music, some Patti LaBelle, some Anita Baker. You hear that soul in the music, right? And Michael Jackson, even some things from Prince. That's when it started getting, But there was soul, right? Meaning that soul energy was on the music, and therefore it made an impression in the minds and the souls of our people. It made an impression. So whenever we hear that music of that certain artist, we gravitate toward that. You don't hear that no more. You don't hear that no more. You notice that? You don't hear that no more in the music, even when they came back with that neo soul stuff. You ever notice in the neo soul stuff, you can barely remember anything from a lot of those neo soul artists. You notice that? And y'all with me on this music thing? I know it's a little bit of delay. I want y'all to follow me what I'm about to say with the music thing. Are y'all with me on this music thing what I'm talking about? Okay. Are y'all with me on the music thing? I'm talking about the music now. Are y'all with me on the music thing? I'm in the chat room. Can y'all hear me? I'm speaking on music right now. All right. We on music. Let me say y'all by saying music. Let me know because I want everybody in alignment with me about what I'm about to say. Everybody say music. Everybody put music in the chat room. We're talking about music now. Don't get carried away by having that conversation. You know, I want everybody to listen to what I'm about to say. The music had a soul impression on it. Right? The music had a soul impression on it. The music no longer has a soul impression on it, so it no longer makes a impression in you. It don't make an impression in you mentally or soulfully anymore. The only reason why rap music caught on is because in the beginning they used R&B music and soul music as the background when they rapped over it. So a lot of and you ended up learning to like the lyrics, but you really caught on to the music. The music is what connected you to the music, to the rapping. The music connected you to it. You had to over time learn to like rap music. You know what I'm saying? Or rap. But the music is what caught you, because we were coming off of that whole soul mindset, that whole soul mentality, and listening to soul music. So that's what we ended up getting caught to. Right? So once we got caught into the music and the music of it, the sounds of it, and then they stripping that away, the music is no longer making an impression anymore. Even when them people was making the neo soul music, it didn't really make no impression. I mean, the stuff sound nice, but you can't tell me nothing that these people, you can't tell me nothing that's gonna, really register in your mind from that neo soul period. Like right now, you can't really push nothing. But you can remember stuff from Stevie Wonder. You can remember stuff from Earth, Wind and Fire. You can remember stuff from, certain art, Parliament, Funkadelic. It was a soul on it that's gone. And that's a sign that black people have lost their soul. And the beast knows that. Notice when they got rid of Soul Train. Right? Notice that was strategic. When they got rid of Soul Train ran up to about 2004, 2005. They got rid of Soul Train for a reason. Because they don't want anything that denotes soul being in alignment with our people. Because soul is that solar projection is what uncovers that hidden frequency they kind of put out. Y'all follow what I'm saying? The hidden frequency of black gets revealed by that solar projection, that reality of soul. The reality of solar projection, which is brightness, which projects everything forward, it shines or it exposes everything. It makes things seen. You follow what I'm saying? It makes things seen. So when we were listening to the soul music, and all of it soul music, jazz, R&B, all that soul music, what did it make us do when we listened to the soul music? Again, jazz, R&B, soul, all that. That's all soul music. Blues is soul music, right? Things that came from the soul, from the inner side of us that came out. The lyrics, the things we were hearing, the things we were seeing, we would put back out in the form of lyric and tone and frequency, right? And that became the music. The things we saw, the things we experienced, the things we were taking in would come out in the form of lyrical content. You see, it come out in the form of lyrical content. And when we were singing and putting out music, we were coming from that soul, that projection, that magnetized people. Rock and roll is soul music. All that soul music because it comes from the soul people. Jazz, rock and roll, R&B, soul, all that soul music. Blues, all of it is soul music. You see, because we were speaking from the inner us, that inner power within us, and we brought that out in lyrical content. That's all. Rhythmic content. And that's what captivated a lot of people. It captivated a lot of people, and it started putting people in a certain level of thinking based on the music that we were producing and the sounds we were putting out. It captivated a lot of people, and that started to break away that whole hidden figure of what they wanted us to be as black people. You see, that started raising us up as stars mentally. People started seeing us as stars or higher beings because of the music. You see, they start, you start shattering that whole image of, these black people, listen to these black people that, because you notice it'd be the most racist white people, right? Oh, we don't like these black people. We don't like these niggas. Then they got a damn Nat King Cole album in their house. Or a damn Prince album. Or a damn Michael Jackson. Some black person, so-called black person. I like their music. But I thought you ain't like the black person. Oh, I just like their music. Because the music starts to go above and beyond that whole stage of blackness. It goes beyond that. It goes into a state of brightness because there's a solar projection on it. And it makes people break out of that mindset, that hidden figure mindset where they try to polarize you as black people. It makes people break out of that and they be like, oh, I like this person. I know he's supposed to be black, but I like their music. In fact, back in the day and the white man realized that, that's why when the so-called black men was coming down there like Little Richard and all, and they had to effeminize themselves so that the white girls, when they were singing that soul music, that rock and roll music and dancing and whatnot, what them white girls want to do, they wanted to lay down with these black men. They wanted to lay down with them. They wanted to have sex with them. And it made the white man look inferior to in his woman's eyes. He looked inferior. They wanted to lay down with them black men the so-called black men who were dancing around and singing, those people in darkness, those hidden figures, because the hidden created a mystery. When you hide something, it creates a mystery. And what do people love? People love mystery. They're like, oh, let me touch your hair. Your skin. Let me touch your lips and all this other business. Because they promote you as a mystery. They can't promote you in the reality of who you really are, because then they have to say, oh, that these are supreme people. These are the Amen people. The other day, when I was watching this video on the Olmecs, this guy had up there, and you could clearly see these colossal heads with the thick lips and the broad noses and whatnot. You can see that these are the descendants of the descendants of these people are the bronze people of today, so-called black people in America. You can clearly see this. And these Caucasians did everything. They talking about how magnificent these people are, the Olmecs, and well, those features are very what did the word they use? They said the features are very they're very not strange, but something like that. I forget the word they used. Right? I forgot what they said about it, but they were basically saying they tried everything in their power not to say that these are so-called black people, that these Olmecs. Here it is right in your face. All any other time you had the ones, they had to show you the ones with the helmets on. They didn't want to show you the ones without the helmets on because the ones without the helmets got afros. They didn't want to show you that. So now the thick lips, the broad noses, and the afros. Oh, those. Well, we don't know nothing about that. We don't know where they come from or what happened to these people. They people right here. So they have to dance around that because they got to keep hiding you. They have to keep hiding you in blackness. They have to hide you in blackness. By saying you black people, that just basically seals you up in an envelope, seals up the identity of who you are, and that's it. They ain't got to worry about you knowing you black. You Negro, you African American, goodbye. No, you're not the Olmecs, you're not the Aztecs, you're not the Incas, you're not the Mayans, you're not the ancient Nubians, you ain't the ancient Egyptians or the Kemites. You ain't none of those people. You just black. And you know what? A lot of you so-called black people, you help with this. You aid in this deception. You aid in this. You're helping to keep yourself in bondage. Just by accepting this idea, this false idea of what they say you are and who they're saying you are. You're aiding in this. By accepting that you are black people, you aid in this. So the reality has to be gone. It has to be erased. The illusion has to be erased. And the reality has to come out. A lot of you Israelites, you guys who sit up here, and some of you Muslims, a lot of y'all so invested in that whole we was here for 400 years, that nonsense that we came over here on slave ships from Africa. A lot of y'all are so invested in that lie. A lot of you are so invested that you will hide, or you will try to conceal the reality that we were already here in America. I done got arguments from people in the Nation of Islam, the Israelites. Oh, brother, what you talking about? Some Olmecs? That ain't who we are. What you talking about? Some Aztec? The Native Americans is the mongoloid looking people that they pass off as Native American, which is a lie. No, the Native Americans ain't so-called black people. We came over here from Africa. So what they're telling you is they're willing to lie just to keep their story together, keep they belief system going. They're willing to lie. So you can't trust the Muslims, you can't trust the Christians, you can't trust the Israelites because they're not willing to tell the truth. Their doctrine, their very doctrine depends on the lie. Y'all follow what I'm saying? The Israelites believe, in the Bible, we're going to be strangers in the land that's not our own, and we're going to come on slave ships, and this, that, and the third. Not knowing that the slave ships that the majority of these black people came on was coming from South America into North America. So they brought a lot of our people over from South America into North America. That's the slave ships. We didn't come from no Africa. Our people were in South America. They brought slaves from South America, and the people that was already here in the North, they just enslaved them. That's all. But they'll sit up here and argue with you about some damn slave shit that they never seen before. That brought 100 million black people locked in chains, like that idiot Spike Lee talking about in the Malcolm X movie. 100 million black people came over here locked in chains from Africa, from their homeland. Nigga, stop. You follow what I'm saying? This is the illusion. This is the illusion they push. These people, your black people, because the more and more real you become, the more unreal you're going to see black people are. That's why I said I can't watch their movies. I can't watch none of this stuff. The more real you become, the more unreal these people are going to show themselves to be. You see, I told you this is the side effect of listening to Mentellect, man. Reality is coming through. Reality is coming through. This is the side effect. Because ain't no other teaching out here that's keeping it real like this. You tell me where. You tell me where. And I guarantee you, most of these guys that you claim are so real and dropping knowledge and teaching this and that, they either copying from me or they still out here teaching that they black. You see, even this guy, Tariq Nasheed, I'm going to just say it like this. Tariq Nasheed, he said, and no disrespect to Tariq Nasheed, but I was watching something. Now all of a sudden he changing his thing up and starting to sound a whole lot like Mentellect. He claimed that, we was saying in Hidden Colors that black people was here since the old man. No, you didn't say that. Because if that's what you said, then why did you say we was only here for 500 years? Before you were saying we was only here for 500 years, then in the same recent video, you turn around and say, it's my conjecture that, we was here since the old Mex and all this. No, then why was you teaching that we was only here for 500 years? No, you changing up now. But that's okay. That's okay. But these people are still not going to deal with reality, man. They're still going to be caught up on voting, on COVID-19 and all this other stuff that you so-called black people believe in. You're going to still be caught up on that. And that's fine. Let the black people, let the beast have the black people. You can't fix their minds. And that's why I push the importance of a community, of the bright community, of the mentalist community. Right? That's why I push the importance of this, because we have to harness this intelligence. This intelligence of logic and rationale, which is Mentellect, has to be harnessed, because we're not going to get this no other time, man. This is not coming through none of these Negroes who trying to regurgitate what I'm trying to do. It's not coming through them, man. Amun is only dealing with this covenant right here, the Republic of Mentellect. And no, I'm not trying to sell people to join the Republic. I'm not trying to sell the Republic of Mentellect. No, I'm just merely putting out this reality that this is the only bright platform, the only bright community that's being gathered. It's not going, and why it's being gathered as the only one is because it's coming directly from the fourth dimension, directly from Amun. Not somebody sitting up here listening to me who was a former follower of mine, who is going to turn around and regurgitate what I said. You don't follow behind those people, because first and foremost, they can't even keep it real about where they got it from. So how the hell you going to follow somebody who phoned? They can't even keep it real about where they got it from. I kept it real about where it's coming from. It ain't coming from me. So that means that Amun are powering this community to gather our people together as one mind, one body, and one soul. Not one mind, not many minds, many bodies, and a bunch of spirits. No, that's how you so-called black people want to gather. You want to gather as many minds, many bodies, and many spirits. Nah. We gathering as the bright races, one mind, one body, and one soul, the mentalists. That's it. We're not gathering as no black people. Ain't no black people over here. If you still being black, then like I said, you played out the you played out the frame, man. Black people are played out. You see, black people are played out. I told you in 2021, we ain't even talking about black people no more. Or white people no more. We talking about the gray race. I'm gonna just straight up deal with what reality is, because in the future they are together. In the future, they are together. You so-called black people finally get what you want. That is to be with the beast. What you call in so-called equality, which is really not equality. You're going to get exactly what you want to mesh in with these humans as the gray race. So we only going to be talking about the gray race 2021 and going forward. That's all. There's nothing else to talk about. Do I got any questions? Any questions? I'm taking questions. Any questions? Huh? It's delayed 15 seconds. Okay. All right. We got any questions? I opened this up live for everybody to ask me questions. Notice your so-called black conscious people, they ain't gonna do that. They ain't gonna do that. Your so-called black conscious, they ain't gonna do that. They'll sit up here and make a video and they'll talk to you for about an hour or so and tell you what they believe, but they don't never open themselves to be challenged. I open myself up now. Nicholas Jackson, fraud, phonies, arrays, you making these videos, you ain't gonna open yourself up for no questions. I bet you won't do that. Copycat, phony, liar. Bomb that clown page, and we're gonna take that page down. No splinter groups. No black people trying to copycat us. No black copycats. All black copycats, white ones and everything, all gray copycats will be exposed. So I'm waiting on questions. Those of you who want to question me, I'm doing a broadcast tonight, 10 to 12. But those of you who want to question me, I'm here. Right? I'm here. Those of you who have questions concerning what I'm teaching, concerning Mentellect, I'm here. You see? You're not going to get this with a lot of these people out here teaching, because, again, they want to talk to the camera and they want to do videos and they want to tell you what they believe, but they don't want to tell you what they think. I told you what I think by the power of Amen. I tell you. You see? These people are still going off of illusions. You see? They're still going off of illusions. As we're moving, huh? Okay, question? Anybody got a question? I'm looking for questions. Questions. Oh, hold on. Okay, I gotta scroll up some. I'm going to scroll. Oh. Why do people think it's too late for what you're doing? Why do people think it's too late for what I'm doing? Malachi, Maiden, you said, why do people think it's too late? Why do people think it's too late for what I'm doing? Is that what you're asking? Let me scroll up. Okay, how did the moon split from the earth? Good question. The projection was just meant to be. Hold on, I'm gonna answer this question. Hold on with your questions. I don't want to miss them. When the Earth was projected through solar projection, continuous projection from brightness into light, into darkness, into dark matter, there came with it a lot of gas came about in that projection. As it started to produce on the physical side in the state of darkness, or what you call dark matter, a lot of gas was produced in the projection of this image of what we standing on now, the solid matter or mass of the earth. Because as I said before, everything starts off in a blueprint, a mental blueprint, and a projection that is projected into a space, right? Projected into a chosen space, right? It's projected into a chosen space, and then things start to formulate because of the gas that's carried in there, and all the material that's carried in there. It starts to project into a gas. All right. Slow down on your questions. I want to answer this question. I don't want to miss any because I'm trying to answer the question. I'm trying to look here. Hold on for 1 second. Hold on. Just hold on to your questions for a second. So, as Earth was being projected through the sun, right? As Earth was being projected through the sun, there was gas that was being uploaded into the Earth's atmosphere, what will become the Earth's atmosphere as it went from a state of brightness or projection into a stage of light and into a stage of darkness or dark matter. That space gathered or garnered everything, and the density of all of what was being projected started to slow down because it's like, I'm gonna give you a good example, like a car. When a car is moving from one space to another and is traveling from one space to another and is, making itself present in one space, you have to have gas to move that vehicle to the next location. So the projection of the Earth was carrying gas in the form of ether, right, from a state of brightness or projection to a stage of light and into a stage of darkness. And that gas was still heavily in the makeup of the Earth. As the Earth was starting to formulate, the gas was there. The gas was the energy or the power, the etheric energy that was still there, and the soul projection, the burn of everything forming together to create that dark matter, right? Slowing down these things in a slower form of density, and then mass starts to develop in that space, right? So as it starts to develop, the gas, because it was so much gas that brought this in from projection, from brightness to light into darkness, the Amen said it to whereas it would get to a certain point where the gas would be all stored up, and then there would be a breaking or an explosion, right? They would break off that part of the Earth into because they were creating a rotative state in which they wanted to pass or continue to pass projection from the sun to the Earth, but they couldn't do that because too much heat and too much gas direct hits into the Earth would be too much for it to take. Because once it split off, the gases, what happened? The gases started to produce elements in the Earth. And one of the elements that were produced in the Earth that spilled off into this side because there was so much gas was water. Because what is gas? It's not gas. It's not water, gas. Water is hydrogen and oxygen, both gases. And those other gases that are in the Earth, right, that are deadly gases, because they were harnessed up to project into physical form. And when the hydrogen and the oxygen met, the H2O, as they call it, to produce water, which is an artificial element, like I said, it spilled off into what is now called the moon, and it went off into what's called Earth then. And that's how your water came about. And the moon had to split off it, because there was so much gas pressure, it had to be split apart. Because if not, Earth would not have been habitable for life forms. Because if you because you got certain planets that got so much gas on it, right? You got so much gas, so much etheric gas, that you couldn't inhale it, you would die. So they had to do it to whereas the beings that were going to be born here, or the beings that were going to be projected here, even the dinosaurs couldn't have lived here. They had to have oxygen, right? They had to have the gas of oxygen here, and they had to make sure that certain gases would end up in the moon's atmosphere and not in the Earth's atmosphere, because if it ended up in the Earth's atmosphere, you couldn't breathe it. So some certain things gases ended up in the moon's atmosphere. That's why, if you notice, when they talked about going to the moon, they got to wear breathing apparatus, right? Because they'll say it's not enough oxygen on the moon. There's no oxygen on the moon. There is oxygen on the moon. It's just not enough gaseous oxygen on the moon. It's other gases in the air that they can't breathe in. So they have to have breathing apparatus to give them more oxygen, or else their lungs would explode, okay, through the gases. Certain gases here will make your lungs explode. So there has to be oxygen. They had to make sure there was a lot of oxygen on this side and whatnot. That's why there's a lot of water here, because the water here is really a form of oxygen, but in a less dense state. Oxygen is nothing but dense water. It's nothing but water in a less dense state. You follow what I'm saying? That's all oxygen is. Oxygen is nothing but water in a dense state. That's why when you breathe on a mirror, you see mist on a mirror. That's because you got water going through your lungs still as air. You follow? So the moon, they had to make sure that the moon, as it was pulled apart from the Earth, as the gas blew it apart, I'm trying to explain it the best, where they put enough gas in to break it apart, because the whole plan was to create a rotation system in which solar projection or solar illumination would go through all four corners of the Earth. In other words, it had to rotate around the corners. You follow what I'm saying? Think about if you're washing something that's in the squares, you're gonna do something you're gonna try and rotate around and hit corners. So the whole point of the moon pulling the tides on the Earth, and also aiding in the projection of transmission, of solar transmission into the Earth, was to make sure that all of the solar projected illumination or brightness or power got into all corners of the planet. Y'all follow what I'm saying? Let me make sure y'all copy what I'm saying with that. Y'all follow what I'm saying? So it was like they really had the moon be like a generator for the Earth's water. The moon is what generates water on the Earth. Right? It started out as gas, and like I said, water being an artificial element, because of those two gases, oxygen and hydrogen, have to do. It was meant to be like a hydraulic system. The moon is like a rotation wheel for the hydraulic system on the Earth, because the Earth is nothing but a hydraulic system. That's why all the tides is pulling like that. It's a hydraulic system. And that's how the beast is able to run whole cities off of what? He runs whole cities off of water current. You follow? His electricity is based in water current. All power, he is based in water current. That's why you got the Niagara Falls, and everything is a water, hydraulics and water generation. You follow? Okay. Let me go up. Let me see. Milton said, is it the same as a child in the mother's stomach in pregnancy with water and life? Not quite. The child can breathe in water until it gets into a space of air. Water in the amniotic sac, they learn to breathe that in, because the water in the amniotic sac in the woman is what preserves the child. Like, for example, if it's like if you pack tuna in a can, there's water in that can to preserve the tuna, right? It's the same thing with a child being in the amniotic sac of the mother. The water in the amniotic sac preserves the child, and the mother has salts in her body that preserves the skin and everything as it's growing on the child. So that water is a form of preserve. Okay, when the moon split from the Earth, like I said, you could tell it was a form of high level engineering. How everything came about, it's a form of high level engineering, because when the moon was split off from the Earth, and they telling you about the tides being pulled here, and that there's a magnetic pulsation of gas, is because it started off as ether that became water on the planets and whatnot. That's a form of hydraulic engineering. The moon is only to pull the tides of the water on Earth, and it keeps the Earth, like I said, keeps things in a form of motion. You see, it keeps things moving. The water has to move in order for there to be a current on the planet, electric on the planet. All right, here we go. To make sure I'm getting all these questions. Where does logic come from? Logic comes from the Amen. Logic comes from the upper dimensions of the Amen race. That's the real level. That's thought. Logic is telepathic transmission. That's really logic. You see, logic is telepathic transmission of thought or central or mental projection. That's logic. And logic is basically where things are, thoughts are added up or, judged as logical and how extensive, because the point of logic is to see how far a thought can travel. The point of logic, I'm going to say this again. The point of logic is to see how far thought can travel. In other words, based on the level of intelligence and the higher form of thought, it will travel on the minds of intelligent people. Based on the stupidity of something, it may travel, but it's only going to be limited but so far. You follow what I'm saying? Logic is what drives thought to extend into greater spaces. Right? Yeah, exactly. Kind of like a neutralizer for the water. Yeah. I want to join. I'm in California. Vivid is causing. I'm a barber. I know. Alejandro Powell. Those of you who want to join the Republic of Mentellect, go to therom.org. therom.org. Those of you who want to join the Republic of Mentellect, it is no longer Mentellect-Republic any longer. But if you look up Mentellect, you'll see. But go to our web address, which is therom.org, and follow the instructions on membership and what to do. therom.org. Okay, let me check some more of these questions. COVID-19 is vivid. I don't understand what that means. That's a kind of, I don't know. Right. Hold on. Just checking for some more questions. I said, when you stop teaching and speaking on the black race and slavery, what will be next? The primary focus. The primary focus is the bright race and the reception of extended intelligence, high telepathic transmission, and the reality of the fourth dimension coming in and what our place is in the fourth dimension. The focus is going to solely be on the bright race and the development of mental capability. That's what's going to be the focus. Something I've been wanting to do, but it was necessary to do this black thing for the first 10 years or so. I was injecting a lot of stuff from fourth dimensional things and whatnot. Even all of it was, but like I said, it was only meant to get the bright people away from the black race. Other than that, that was it. And that's, like I said, that's coming to an end. So to answer that question, the raising of the bright race, will we be able to breathe out of space with no suits? In time, yeah, because that's another thing. The makeup of gases in the air is going to change as we move into the upper dimensions. The makeup of gases in the air is going to change. Right? It's going to be less. It's going to be still oxygen at the base, but the gas is going to change. Right? There's going to be a different type of gas that we're going to inhale. You know, I'll speak more on that gas later because it's not coming right now. But that just came to me. There's going to be a different type of gas that we're going to inhale. Like if you notice, the higher up you go in mountains and things like that, don't they say the air gets thinner? So already oxygen levels are different in different regions. So think as we come into upper dimensions, the oxygen level is going to be different. It's going to become thinner. And it's not that oxygen is being lost, it's that different gas is going to come into play, and your lungs are going to have to grow with that because you're being prepared for something. All right. Mm-hmm. He said, "Are we stuck in the bubble, or is the sky real?" The sky is real, and also um, we're held down by gravitational pull. What do I mean by that? We're weighted down by the water that's in us that we drank, the water that went into making us. We're weighted down by that. We're weighted down by a flat surface on a square flat surface, with peaks in it and things like that. But still in on, you have peaks within it, but we are weighed down by gravitational pull, which is nothing but water that keeps us magnetically connected to the ground, that keeps us magnetically pulled. All right. So yeah, the sky is real. Right, the sky is real, but it's also meant to be an open, because in certain parts, as high up you go, there are certain portals or open doors into the upper dimensions. There's certain places that you're not allowed to fly over, and the pilots know, where they talk about people disappearing. You have certain people disappear into the fourth dimension or just burn out before they got to the fourth dimension. Right? There's certain parts they don't know where they all are. They don't know where they all are, but there's certain parts of the sky as you farther up you go, in certain sections where you fly over, where there are open doors to the fourth dimension, certain portals and whatnot. Certain people won't be able to get through them. Certain people, if you try to go through them, you'll burn up. You're saying, or you'll burn out, or you will. You ever heard that terminology, spontaneous combustion? You will combust trying to go through those portals. But those portals are going to be going into, we're heading toward that right now. Am I making myself clear? Is all higher future states live and moving? Question, is all higher future states live and moving? Yeah. The fourth dimension is real. The eighth dimension is real. And I'm going to say this. Y'all notice how I was putting 1444. Why I put 3 4s instead of 2 4s is because they're supposed to be 1444. 1444 is actually the code. It's part of a code to leave out of this 13th dimension, because the first 4 is the 4 that we're about to come to. The second 4 is when we come into the 8th dimension. The third 4 is when we come into the 12th dimension, right? But then there's a final 4. So there's really 4 4s, which is the 13th dimension itself, the actuality, because 1 and 3, as in 13, equals what? 4. So that's 4, 4, 4, 4. So that's 4 times 4, or 4 by 4. You follow? So yeah, all higher states are around. Am I making myself clear? Is the ability to pull images, text, audio capability from Amen? You mean pull images as in what, like pictures? Well, that is, again, the ability to have telepathic recall, and that's what it's really called. It's really telepathic recall. Telepathic recall works like this. Images are already in the air. Extended images are already in the air, right? Depending on the strength of that of your mind and the ability to magnetically pull these images, that is how you're able to pick them up because they're already there. You have to be able to clear out the memory to pull them. I've learned to clear out my memory to pull images, make them stronger. It came to me how to clear my memory. You wouldn't be able to do it. I would have to show people how to do it. And I'm not going to do that right now because I don't want the wrong people trying to do that. But you would have to learn to clear out your memory to pull images. And that's telepathic transmission. I'm still learning it. I'm still receiving it and getting it and whatnot and pulling it in. So, yeah. Let's see. What in what future generation do we expect to see full power? You should be getting it. I'm going to show you right now the answer to that question, Enron Cyrell. Well, you should be able to see it in the next 40 years or less. And you know how you know that is because the beast done come down in your theory, knowing his time is short, and he's trying to make sure you so-called black women kill off your babies, make sure he give you vaccines, make sure he make you sterile, make sure he do all this because he knows that within this next generation or this next regeneration, that's when that next level of children are being born. See, because the beast does not have anything to, he doesn't really have anything to hide you behind anymore because everything's being exposed. We're in the time of revelation, so he don't really have anything to hide you behind anymore. The whole black thing is played out. You're only going to have the simple mind that's going to keep the black thing going, but they don't even matter no more. They are the gray race. So he really doesn't have anything to hide you behind anymore. Okay? Hold on, let me make sure I got these. Hold on. I'm trying to read the rest of these comments. All right. You said not only not only our mentality has to change, the transmission does. Our DNA genetic structure has to change as well and equipped with these changes that will happen in the fourth dimension. Yeah, all that's going to have to change. That's why I'm teaching y'all now. I'm making my people ready for the fourth dimension. The fourth generation. We coming into the fourth generation right now. The fourth generation is the regeneration. You see? We're coming into the fourth generation. Right? Okay. Am I making myself clear? Everybody got what I'm saying? Clear? Does the beast try to enter those portals or can he even see them? No, he comes across them by mistake. He found out about them. Remember when they keep talking about places like Area 51 and places like that, and certain no-fly zones they tell you can't go over as a pilot. They have certain, and that's internationally, there's no-fly zones and where you can't go over. So he knows that because certain people have flown over these places and they don't tell you about it. They'll only tell you about a few people that have flown over places. They just straight up disappeared. They straight up disappeared. So they know about these no-fly zones. Because they know you're gonna either disappear and get tore up in another dimension. Because a lot of these people that try to go into that fourth dimension and go through those open portals, they're gonna get tore up before they even hit that because you have to be reconfigured to that stage. You got to be reconfigured. You follow? Even right now, in what I'm teaching you all, we're being reconfigured to the fourth dimension right now. Mentellect is reconfiguring our people toward the fourth dimension. Notice this ain't teaching for black people. Am I right or wrong? Have I been teaching anything that's for black people? That's remotely for black people? Would black people even remotely listen to this? Because this is not meant for black people. I told you, you're being reconfigured for the fourth dimension. You're being reconfigured for that. All right? Let me see. We're going to go another 30 minutes. I'm going to end at 7 o'clock. All right. Let me make sure I got all these questions. Am I making myself clear? Hold on. I use the bathroom. I'll be right back. I see your question, Sheree Z. All right. Okay. Somebody asked a question. I was trying to get that question back up there. I can't see it no more. Hold on. Sharray Z. Those of you had questions, put your questions back in again. Because for some reason I can't see it right now. So just put your questions back in. Uh, the guy Sharray Z. I saw your question up there. I'm trying to go back and look at it. I can't go back and see for some strange reason. I'm trying to go back and see the questions. I was trying to get everybody questions. Okay. Sharray Z. That's what your name. Let me see. Yeah, like the ships and planes disappearing into the Bermuda Triangle. But I'm gonna tell you something. Certain people are gonna be able to see into those open dimensions, right? So they're gonna be able to see into that. We're being reconfigured for the fourth dimension. Certain people are being reconfigured for it, right? The elect are gonna be reconfigured, but the first thing that has to be reconfigured is your mind, how you think, how you move through the fourth dimension, how you carry yourself through there, because that's going to play a lot in the type of children you make, because by what's going in your head through Mentellect is going to reconfigure, or should be reconfiguring, the minds of yourself and your children and your future offspring, so that they're reconfigured to it. That's why I said you can't go in as black people. Ain't no black people in the fourth dimension. Ain't no white people in the fourth dimension. So they already, like I said, that is amongst everybody right now, the reality of the fourth dimension, because I said before that when we came here into the third dimension, our job as the fallen Amen, or as they say, the 200 fallen angels, the 400, the fallen Amen, that our job was to configure the earth, to configure this three-dimensional state into the fourth dimension, get it fourth dimensional ready. That was always our job. When we came into different atmospheres, we were to get it fourth dimensional ready. We didn't want to do that. We wanted to go to the upper dimensions, which was the eighth dimension and beyond. We wanted to keep going. We didn't want to deal with the humans, because we dealt with these creations that somewhat like the humans before. We dealt with these type of creations before, and we didn't want to go through that again in the dealing with the humans. So we wanted to go in the upper dimensions, and we were forced down into the third dimension to do our job. And we did our job for a period of time in creating the humans and getting everything fourth dimensional ready. We did it up to a certain point, but then we wanted to stop doing it. And that's what we did. That's what happened. We stopped doing our job, which was get the planet or get the three-dimensional state ready for fourth dimensional, ready, or converting it into the fourth dimension through logic and rationale. And that was the transmission that was supposed to come through to us, these logical and rational thoughts. So let me see. Is everything clear? Is all clear? Okay. Okay, I see it. I see, Sheree. Is telepathic transmission similar, if not the same, as intuition? That's all of that is mental capabilities. All that is upper mental capability. All of it. What is the significant change will happen in the fourth dimension that people will see the truth? What significant change will happen in the fourth dimension that people will see the truth? Well, the fourth dimension is bringing reality. It's not bringing the truth. The truth, like I said, we got to get out of that whole mind frame of truth. Truth and lies are all being meshed together to create what's called belief. So in the fourth dimension, there is no truth. In the fourth dimension, there is no lie. In the fourth dimension, it's based on pure reality. See, because truth and lies are subjective. You could be telling me something like these people tell you right now, go ahead, speak your truth. Notice how popular that saying is, speak your truth. Speak your truth. So what they're really saying is, I'm going to tell what I feel the truth is, no matter whether it's true or whether it's a lie or whatnot. It's interchangeable. It's just whatever they feel the truth is. That's what they say. So there is no truth in the fourth dimension. There's no lies in the fourth dimension. There's only reality in the fourth dimension. Do I make myself clear on that? And what is happening right now is waking people up to reality, at least the elect. Everybody, if you making it to the fourth dimension, then that means you've already accepted reality. If so, there's no waking up in the fourth dimension. Those who have accepted the reality and coming into this community together, that's the people who are waking up to reality. And that's the people who are waking up to the fourth dimension. The rest of these people, they don't know what dimension it is. They don't know about space, time. They ain't into that. That's not real to them. What's real to them is voting. What's real to them is, oh, I'm going to get my pension in another 20 years. What that's real to them. Basically, this false knock that they own homes and houses and cars and all. Basically, this false reality is real to them. So to talk about waking them, there's no waking these people up. The ones who are going to be woken up, they're being woken up in the third dimension right now. Ain't no waking up in the fourth dimension. By the time you reach the fourth dimension, you're already supposed to be woke up. You're supposed to already be in a state of brightness. You're supposed to already know that what reality is and what's not reality. Who is going to fill in the third dimension after the fourth dimension? After we hit the fourth dimension to the eighth dimension, who's going to fill in the fourth dimension? Your children will fill in the fourth dimension. Those who coming behind you and those who are going to be raised up. Because, like I said, it's always going to be certain people in the fourth dimension. It's going to be certain people who ain't going to raise to the eighth dimension. Everybody ain't going to the fourth dimension. And I'm going to say this again. You people who are not in the Republic of Mentellect, stop saying we. There's no we in the fourth dimension if there's no Republic of Mentellect. Because the whole point of the Republic of Mentellect was to raise up the elect into the fourth dimension. Ain't no going to the fourth dimension as individuals. Ain't no going as, oh, I'm going to say what New been saying so we can get to the fourth. That's not working like that. The fourth dimension is only going to be by those who are in this community. Because this reality came for the community. It's not, like I said, the reality, it's not even for the world because the world is not real. How can reality be for the world when the world is not real? They're going to feel the brunt of reality when everything starts to fall apart. They just going to lose their minds, man. That's reality. Reality is not for the world because these people are not real. They fake. They phony. They everything out their mouth. They don't know. They don't know what they're saying. What they believe in don't make sense. So how can you call these people real? There's nothing real about these people. And it's going to be certain people who are not going to raise to the eighth dimension. They're going to be on the fourth dimension. These are drop-off points. You got certain people who are not going to raise to the 12th dimension. They're going to be on the 8th dimension. And that's where they stop. And you guys have people that's just going to keep going. That's all. Who is going, let me see. Okay. So the people who got lost in Bermuda simply got destroyed. Yeah, they got destroyed by the portals. They didn't make it through the fourth dimension. They got tore up before they made it, before they could even reach it. Those portals were only meant for people who are of the elect. Why would you go into a place where you don't even fit in it? They're not going to let you in there. Like I said, you have to be reconfigured, and that would tear you up. You couldn't even live there. You see, you couldn't live in those dimensions. If you're not reconfigured for those dimensions, then you can't live there. We as the elect who are being reconfigured by Mentellect, we being reconfigured to live in the upper dimensions. That's what we're being reconfigured for mentally, because it starts first mentally and then collectively as a unit, and then we're starting to move in as collective bodies of people. We're moving in as a race of people. We're not moving in as individuals. I make myself clear? You know, I'm gonna tell you where that comes. Now, in religion, what the white man say? In religion, he says you have to be a certain way. See, they use certain spiritual code where they'll be like, you got to be a certain way and live a certain way on the earth in order to go to heaven, right? You got to be of the saints. When the saints come marching, I want to be in that number. You got to live a certain way to go to heaven, correct? Well, all they really saying is you have to be, you know. They'll say you got to believe a certain thing as a group of Christians, as a group of Muslims. They always says groups. You got to believe in this in order to go to heaven. All that really means is that, which is watered down, you have to think on a certain level to go to the fourth dimension as a collective group of people. That's all that means. They just water it down into religion and belief. Okay. All right. Let me see. Okay, no, it's okay. You can join the junior mentalist group that we're gonna have up. Like I said, when you're 20, in another 4 years, you can join the Republic. We don't take people that's under 20. You gotta be 20 years old. Is coronal mass projection from the sun will be a constant magnetic pull directly from those portals. Is coronal mass projection coronal, as in coronavirus? Coronal. I'm trying to, coronal mass projection from the sun. Be the constant. Is coronal mass projection from the sun be the constant magnetic pull directly for those portals of high? And Janul, you got to re-ask your question again, because re-ask your question again. If I didn't answer it, re-ask your question again, because it kind of didn't make no sense. Just ask it, re-ask your question. When is the year the transmission really heat up? It already done started. Explain the difference between intuition, telepathy, psychometry, clairvoyance, and how who can possess these powers if you have time. These are all upper mental capabilities that start by, because these are not all these upper mental capabilities are extensions of your lower abilities to see, to hear, to taste, to touch. All these are based on extended versions. So telepathy, psychometry, intuition, all these things are upper mental capabilities and extensions of your physical capabilities and things. That's all they are. And they all work together by way of sight. They work by way of sight. I'm not talking about just visual sight. I'm talking about mental sight. And that starts by mental touch. What are these things that are being allowed to touch your higher mental senses? And the people that are going to inherit those powers or those higher mental capabilities are going to be the people who are unemotional. The unemotional people will inherit those. The ones who are emotional will not get those powers. They won't get those capabilities. Because emotion, right, that throws off those upper mental capabilities. Emotion throws off the upper mental capabilities of telepathy, intuition, psychometry, clairvoyance. It throws it off. Because again, this works off of logic. All of these things work off of logic. You cannot logically control these things because they have to be controlled. Same way when I talked about how the person who controls the energy is the one who has the power, not the energy itself. The energy itself is not power. Those who control the energy, that's the power. Those who maneuver and manipulate the energy, that's the ones who carry the power. So these upper mental capabilities have to be controlled and manipulated. How are you going to control these upper mental capabilities if you can't even control your goddamn emotions? If you can't control your emotions, or you're still dealing with emotions, then you can't deal with these. Simple as that. All right. There's going to be a youth group. There's a youth group. Just inbox me those who want to be part of the youth group. We got we still got the youth group up. Those who want to be part of the youth group, just inbox me. A coronal mass injection is solar waves being spewed. Okay, a coronal mass ejection is solar waves being spewed from the sun. Coronal is the Latin flame for crown. Okay. Well, those are all going through those dimensions and whatnot. And so the dimensions are just spaces in which the upper dimensions are just spaces in which these projections are coming through and they're filling in those spaces. The wider or the more extended each dimension is, the more that's going to be projected into it. Like, for example, you couldn't really project people who can fly, people who got those high capabilities. You couldn't project that in the third dimension, but you can project it in the fourth dimension, in the upper dimensions. Those people who are going to have those higher mental capabilities have those in these upper dimensions. Now, like I said before, just because as we reach in the fourth dimension, that is a mental connection we're making. It doesn't mean that we won't be walking side by side with people in the third dimension. You see, because we'll walk with people in the third dimension, like like I said, in all actuality, everything's going to be in the fourth dimension because we're going to start to inhabit the fourth dimension. But the people who are of the third dimension, they're still going to be in the third dimension. You follow what I'm saying? But the fourth dimension is what's going to dominate everything. But those people are going to still be on a three-dimensional frequency. They won't have those higher mental capabilities. They won't. They're trying to get that because they know that, and this is why they want to mix their seed with the so-called black woman, because they feel like by making these gray children, they're going to have a piece of those higher mental capabilities. But they're not going to really even have a piece. They might have little small remnants of it, but it's not going to be on no level because they're still going to have that animal genetic in them. The grays are going to still have the animal genetic, which is going to prevent them from tapping into those fourth dimensional and upper dimensional powers. Because the upper dimensional powers, those spaces are filled continuously with extended transmission into those dimensions. All right? Did I answer the question? Does genetics have to dictate what mental powers you get or how strong they are? Yeah, genetics plays a great part in it. Yep. Genetics plays a heavy part in it. Yep. If barbering isn't working, then do okay. Okay, scrolling down. Does almond beings have the ability to clone themselves? They did clone themselves. Cloning is honestly, cloning is what you call reproduction. What you calling having children? That's really cloning. That's a form of cloning, right? That's really what cloning is. We do natural cloning through childbirth and things like that. That's the natural form of cloning. The only artificial form of cloning we did was in the creation of your primitive almond, which were your early Africans. That was the only form of outside cloning we did. That's why they had that heavy, reptilian genetic. But cloning is really another way of saying mass producing or having children. That's a form of cloning. Genetic materials coming together to clone new or next being from those two genetic materials coming together. Right? That's a form of cloning. Mm-hmm. That's why when the beast does he does the test tube babies and things like that, the sperm and the egg and whatnot, all he's doing is that's cloning, right? But what he's doing outside cloning, unnatural outside cloning that's not taking place in the body. That's all he's doing is an artificial form of that. We already did that already with the creation of the humans, which is with creation of the humans and the cloning of the almond. Reason why it was the cloning of those early Africans of almond because we use more of our genetic, and we use the reptilian genetic more of that. With the humans, we just totally straight up use genetically modified creatures, which were your animals, which is why they have that fur growing out of their head. We use the genetically modified animals to create the humans, right? I apologize if this question has been asked and discussed. I missed some of because of the work being completed here at Workers. Will you expound on COVID-19 and how we are to conduct ourselves during these times to protect ourselves? Only thing I'm gonna tell y'all is don't wear no mask and definitely don't take no shots. That's all I'm gonna tell you. That's all I gotta tell you. It's not real. That's it. That's not real. That's the only thing I can tell you. That's real. What age do you have to be to join the youth group? Uh, from 13 to 19, 13 to 19 to join the age group. Just inbox me if you want to join, and we'll put you in. Do we not all you or embrace emotion? Do do we not all you or embrace our emotions? It's not how we reject our emotions or consider our emotions that make the big difference. But to say that one can eliminate emotion, do you think that it's truly possible? Yes, it is possible because we're not emotional. We're not supposed to be emotional. We learned emotion from the humans. We learned that from them. That's not from us. Emotions has nothing to do with us. We learn emotions from humans. We're not emotional people. Now, if you want to say, because emotion is only seen when it is out of alignment with something. Emotion is only experienced when it's out of alignment of something. Because when you are showing, what's the word I want to say? When you are giving logical responses for something that happens, like for example, if you are um, cautious of something or afraid of something, or you are sad about something and things like that, when that's done in a proper frame, then that's not really emotional. Emotion is only shown when you're doing it in an improper time. Like nobody's gonna look at you and say, "Oh, you too emotional because you crying because your mother passed away, your father passed away." Nobody's gonna say that if you cry about your mother or father and whatnot in a certain time. Nobody's gonna say, "Oh, you being too emotional." No, nobody's gonna say that. That's logical to do. That's a logical or natural response. You see, when logical and natural responses come about, that's not really considered to be emotional. It's like I said, it's logical. You only know things as emotion when you do things that are not at a proper time, not in the proper place, not in the proper time frame. Y'all follow what I'm saying? Okay. Is that clear? Did Amen send transmission to black people to kill their own, or black people just straight lost and ignorant? No, they're just straight lost and ignorant because Amen's not dealing with the black race. Amen's not dealing with the black race. The black race already decided that and the beast they trust. They have already decided that. The beast was only set up temporarily to do the work or finish off the work that the Amen was supposed to do. And then at a certain time, it was supposed to go forward into the hands of the Amen again. But a lot of you so-called black people in the transference of power and transference of control over this planet, y'all fell under control of the humans. And that's not what you were supposed to do. That's not what you were supposed to do. So now, you being taught to kill because what is black? Black is what? Hidden. You don't know who you are and things that you don't know anything about, because one of the main reasons black people and black men kill each other because they are distrustful of one another. They don't know one another. Who they truly are is hidden from one another. So therefore they think nothing about killing each other, taking each other's lives. So the reality of who they are is hidden. So you're going to kill or mistrust anything that you don't know or anything that's foreign to you. And let's just be for real, a lot of you so-called black people are degenerates. A lot of black people are degenerates, and just like anybody out here. And of course, you're going to be wary of these people, but it's on a greater scale because you've been told that you're black. And what reference point do you have to black, which you have nothing? Is it very possible for a person to eliminate his or her emotions, not so much for a human being? Not well. Again, it's not even supposed to be emotion when you're doing it in the right. When remember I explained this, when you're doing things in the proper in its proper place. It's not emotion anymore, right? When you get upset about certain things, right? And it's meant for you to get upset about certain things for a reason. You're not doing it out of whack with certain things. Like certain people just be mad or over the top or overly emotional about things and whatnot, where there's really no need to be that way. Everything is supposed to be in check, is what I'm saying. So just keep these things in check. Don't I'm not saying, to, cause, totally abandon, but when I say keep them in check, they're supposed to be at the right time. Fear or caution of something is necessary at times. It's necessary at times. At other times, it's not. Again, this is where judgment comes in. Judgment comes in to let you know when to be cautious about things, when to be mindful of things to protect yourself, when to be, when to mourn about things like the losing of a parent or whatever, or a child or something like that. That's logical to be like that. You ain't supposed to overdo it. Again, this is where judgment comes in. Do y'all follow what I'm saying? Let me see. When the woman gave birth to the children, will the children tell the parents what to do in the fourth dimension? Uh, they're supposed to be knowing more than you. They're supposed to help and guide you to a certain thing, and they're going to show you certain things. But you always make sure that parent, you have to be there to protect it, because really that's what you do with your children. Your children, at the point of you being parents to your children, is to give them law and order and guidance in growing up. That's the point and protection. Law, order, guidance, and protection to raise them into the best beings they can be. And then they'll be able to protect and guide and do the same thing to you. That's how it's supposed to go. All right. All right. Can the genetics of the woman overpower the genetics of the man, causing the child not to be able to enter the fourth dimension? That could happen. Yeah. Depending on how it can. See, again, with these children, you have to make sure you choose the right person that you're making the children with. Because if you're doing it based on some low level thing, like remember I told you about admiration over admiration over infatuation. When you truly don't admire a person on a higher level, then you don't leave. Like I was saying in class last week, I said that things are put in a vessel for a reason. Things are put in a container or concealed or put in a container for a reason. This earth, the projection of this earth was put in a container. We are in a container. We are in a square container. The projection of earth is in a square container. I'm going to get off into that. So y'all got me going off into something else I want to do a broadcast. I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. Earth is in a square container. All right. It's in a square container, and we have not reached the point of the next line within the square, which makes it 4. We are in a third of the square container. We are only in a third of it. This is why everything is 3-dimensional and the frequency coming off odd. So we're coming into that fourth alignment. No, align, meaning the final line within the square of the fourth dimension. So now we're coming into that. So you have to make your decisions based on who you admire and not who you are infatuated by, because you will breed lesser and lower children, right? And if you should so happen to luck up and have children with somebody and they should happen to be bright, it's a crapshoot. I'm gonna just say it like that. If you're doing that with people who you really, you have no real connection with you, just because you lusting after these people, you have these thoughts about people and whatnot, and this is what you lead with, and it's not a form of admiration, then there's not going to be any, you're taking away those children's ability to ascend into the fourth dimension, because then that means no real mental power went into making it. If compassion gets eliminated, how can we say that we are still on? If compassion gets eliminated, how can we say we are still sentimental value on polar opposites? No, because sentimental is dealing with the key phrase, mental. See, this is what, again, when you are in alignment, in other words, judgment weighs in on the proper, times in which to use certain energy towards something. See, all this is nothing but energy that you're directing towards something. If you're sad, you're directing sadness toward a certain situation. If you are angry, you're directing anger toward a certain situation. If you are compassionate, you are directing compassion or sentiment toward a certain situation. But what's the problem with that is, if it's off, if you're doing it at the wrong times, and that's the problem, that's when it becomes emotional. That's when it becomes toxic. You follow what I'm saying? Where the black people who lost their souls projected here or cloned to Earth. No, the ones who were projected here, they had their soul intact, and they still got their soul intact. The people that were cloned here, they started to lose their soul. All right, and they started to follow the beast, and they took on that spiritual energy. Exactly, sentiment versus emotion. I'm going to do a broadcast. I thought I did something like that, but good idea. Inbox me that Enrock Captain Amendea. I'm going to do that, sentiment versus emotion. I'm going to do that because that's really what it's supposed to be. Sentiment is when these things, when what you're calling emotion is logically in alignment with certain situations and things like that. That's when it's sentiment. That means you have a sentimental connection or a form of judgment. You have the proper judgment when you utilize certain sentimental actions or certain sentimental actions for things. When you're emotional, you don't know when to use it. You're just all over the place. You follow? There's sentiment and there's emotion. Thank you. Let me make sure. Okay, got 2 minutes. Trying to get more I can get. Energy and motion is all energy being directed in a certain motion is what I'm confused about. Emotion exists, but biological emotion is what I think works best for personal, long, logical emotion. No, there again. If you use it reference, then I mean no disrespect. I'm trying to learn. Okay, emotionally myself that I'm not emotional would be completely lying. Well, again, it's sentiment. Sentiment, aka sentimental, is when you are logically applying sentiment to a certain situation. If you cry because again your parents passed away, it's logical to do that. You're being sentimental about how you feel about these people. You have a sentimental attachment for certain things based in logic. But when you just doing things, you acting out for no reason, you just all over the place, that's illogical. That's emotion. We are sentimental people, not emotional people. I'm going to say it again. We, as the bright race, we are sentimental people. We are not emotional people. I'm going to do a broadcast on that this week. Thank you, Enrock Captain Amendea. I'm going to do a broadcast on that. We, as the bright race, we are sentimental, not emotional. There's a difference. We logically know when to apply sentiment to things. We don't even refer to it as emotion. We refer to it as sentiment. We know when to apply sentiment to certain things. We know when to have passion for things, when to have compassion for things. But see, black people don't know when to do that. That's why they're emotional. You follow what I'm saying? Did we fall mentally from the fourth dimension to the third dimension, or were we actually physically into the fourth dimension and got booted out? Both. We were physically into the fourth dimension. And when I say we were physically into the fourth dimension, what that means is that we had the power. We were able to fly. We had the telepathy. That's what put us in the fourth dimension. See, when you have those powers on full blast like that, and when they starting to come in, that's a sign that you're entering the fourth dimension, because all of those powers that are described, those capabilities, are fourth dimensional. They're not three dimensional. So when you start to carry these, like a lot of the people who are entering into the fourth dimension right now, we're starting to receive our telepathy. The telepathy is the most strongest and the most powerful and the most highest capability we can have. I'll explain why that is, why it's more important than even levitation, right? Because we're going to get there once we get deep into telepathy, because that's the longest and highest and strongest mental capability that we have to harness and keep in alignment as a collective to get to those other ones. Okay. Is 4D vision available to some? Yeah, to me. You talking to the person who has 4D vision. I couldn't be talking to you like this if I didn't. I get to see into the fourth and third both ways. My ability to see into the fourth dimension gives me a clear view of the third dimension. I can see this all clearly by way of fourth dimensional sight. All right. All right, we're about to sign off. Or some people I'll take. Okay, well, that's it. Can you further explain? One more, I'll do one more, and that's it. Can I further explain? Can I explain further on what inside us needs to resurface? Reality. That's what needs to resurface. You see, because a lot of people don't understand that. They don't have an understanding of reality. You see, that has to resurface. Because you still got people who saying they're keeping it real, but you're not keeping it real all the way. You're not keeping it real. So when you keep it real, then all the real things that you have in you are going to resurface. All right? Are some people even in the bright race going to be less emotional than others, almost like they're completely void of it? Everybody should be on the same level logically when it comes to sentiment. It's not going to be any such thing as emotion. There's no emotion in the fourth dimension. There's only sentiment. So we started telling you about, because I did something on being sentimental before. I did something on that. You know, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to have to do it again. Being sentimental versus emotional. Okay. But that's it. We're going to close out in the name of Amen, by the power of Amen. In Amen we trust, in Amen we think, and in Amen we continue forward forever. I am the intellectual Nuben Menkares. This has been Mentellect Live. I'm going to be on YouTube, and I'm going to be taking questions and whatnot. And do me a favor, somebody put the link in for this clown, Zaraeus Nuclear. His name is Nicholas Jackson. Please go to his site, subscribe, and please leave comments in there. Blow him up. Blow this fraud of Nicholas Jackson. Blow him up. Expose him as a fraud. He likes to copy from me. Expose him as a fraud and flag his channel. Get his page took down. Can y'all please do that? Go to his page and get his things taken down, because he's a fraud and a phony, and he's one of these people who are aiding in throwing off the transmission. Now I'm saying he ain't gonna throw the transmission on, but what I'm saying is he's one that's trying to cause confusion in the transmission. He's a black devil who is a former member. His name is Nicholas Jackson. He goes by the name Zaraeus Nuclear. Zaraeus with 2 Z's. This clown. All right, so please go on and destroy his sites. Go on and flag his videos. Somebody put his link in there and go and subscribe and set up shadow trolls or whatever accounts on YouTube, and just call him out for the fraud he is. And that's it. All right. Menzak.